In 1969, the United States Air Force closed Project Blue Book, officially declaring that UFOs do not exist. Since then, an underground network of investigators has documented further sightings.
We are not hiding anything. We have nothing to hide.
The evidence suggests otherwise. For decades, the Mutual UFO Network, or MUFON, has operated beyond the scope of government. Their ranks include politicians, scientists, NASA engineers, military officers, the FBI, CIA, NSA, and private sector security. Now, MUFON has agreed to make public their 35,000 case files, first-hand accounts, physical evidence, and expert analysis. For the first time, all assembled under one roof. Welcome to Hangar 1. Now, MUFON has begun to comb through the largest collection of UFO data on Earth.
Out of the thousands of cases we investigate each year, there are small pieces hidden, waiting to be assembled into the greater whole.
Every episode explores at least 3 interconnected case files, revealing the hidden patterns behind global events, shedding a whole new light on history. New York City, August 14th, 2003.
Day 2 of the blackout of 2003.
Airports are closed.
New York City's in the dark tonight, and so are millions of people across the northeastern U.S. and Canada.
Over the course of 4 hours, the entire electrical grid of the American Northeast fails. 55 million people are plunged into darkness.
Blackouts in the modern grid can only be caused by a huge surge of demand.
Now keep in mind this was a heat wave, so there was a spike in energy use in the Northeast, but that was simply due to air conditioners.
MUFON obtains the U.S. government's official report on the blackout through a Freedom of Information Act request. It states an excess demand of nearly 2 gigawatts triggered the fatal chain reaction of power plant overloads.
2 gigawatts is a staggering amount of electricity. It's equivalent to the output of our largest nuclear power plant. It's enough to power 2 million homes.
The MUFON case files report 3 different sightings in the blackout area. Case number 11521, 11518, and 11507. Each of these cases occurred near a power plant.
Why would UFOs interfere with our electrical grid? Could the answers lie within the files of Hangar 1? The 1965 New York blackout occurs 4 years before the formation of MUFON. No official case files exist for that time. However, MUFON has found newspaper reports of similar UFO activity near power plants that parallel the blackout. They suggest a new perspective on the mysterious 65 blackout.
We know enough about our solar system to generally discount the idea that an advanced civilization lives on a world nearby. That means for them to get here, it would require an enormous amount of power to power their ships, their life support systems. To hide from our technology, it all requires power.
Conrad Holden is an electrical engineer.
See, any society, including ours, that relies on singular resource capitalization is doomed. What you need, what they have, is adaptability. Systems that can run on anything you can find, exploit any resource, any power source you can find.
It's interesting that these blackouts seem to occur in nuclear-capable countries.
Case file 21933, October 23, 2010, Cheyenne, Wyoming. Warren Air Force Base is on high alert. The launch and guidance systems to 50 armed nuclear missiles have just unexpectedly failed. The base has gone dark. Meanwhile, 200 feet above, ground troops glimpse a gigantic cigar-shaped craft hovering over the base.
It's a known fact that this scenario has played out over the last 60 years at every nuclear-armed military base in the United States. Every one.
Thankfully, the base's systems come back online without further mishap. No nuclear material is found to be missing, so no power appears to have been stolen. But could there be another explanation for these events?
This may not even be about the electricity. They may be testing us or toying with us.
Imagine a child walking through their backyard, find an ant bed, and is curious about it. So he takes his finger, sticks it in the ant bed, and watches the ants scatter. That could be as simple as what they're doing to us.
The 1977 New York blackout is infamous for its intensely violent aftermath. Looting, vandalism, assault, and arson were widespread, leading some to speculate a citywide social collapse. While there may not be conclusive evidence to link this blackout with alien interference, the question must be asked: if we are being watched or even tested, what do they see in us? Allies or threats? The MUFON case files date back to 1969, the year MUFON was formed. However, the network has also assembled an archive of early 20th century documents and investigations through contacts in government, the media, and the military-industrial complex. One series of possible coincidences proves too unusual to be ignored. Palm Springs, California, February 20th, 1954. President Dwight D. Eisenhower is in town for an unscheduled vacation. Strangely, though this trip is one of the first a president has taken to the resort community, White House records show the vacation was announced only 2 weeks prior. John Ventre is a member of the MUFON executive board.
The president just gets back from a quail hunting trip for 5 days, and then he takes off for Palm Springs for no reason. Nobody knew he was going there.
Then, at around 10 p.m. the evening of February 20th, President Eisenhower disappears.
Ike's entire staff, housekeepers, secretaries, even the security had no idea where the President of the United States was.
He disappears. The President of the United States drops off the face of the earth, and nobody knows where he's at.
The Associated Press issues a bulletin that claims the president died of a heart attack. It is later retracted.
Eisenhower shows up 100 miles away in Los Angeles the following day at a church service, and he claims he had to undergo emergency dental surgery for a chipped tooth.
Perhaps there was no chipped tooth. Eyewitness testimony from a retired Air Force medic obtained on the condition of anonymity claims on the night in question, Eisenhower was escorted across the desert toward Palmdale, California, adjacent to Edwards Air Force Base. John Greenwald is a UFO researcher who specializes in obtaining classified data.
Freedom of Information Act inquiries do prove that Edwards Air Force Base was shut down for 3 days to all incoming air traffic and all non-essential personnel from February 19th, 1954 to February 21st.
The evidence to explain what happened next is sparse. But through the years, military and intelligence sources have come forward to share their accounts. They allege President Eisenhower did travel to Edwards Air Force Base that night, along with some of the country's highest-ranking generals. They were to take part in an unprecedented meeting. Under the cover of darkness and a total lockdown of the base, it is said that President Eisenhower witnessed some kind of UFO phenomenon. A number of sources believe he actually engaged in negotiations with emissaries from another world.
Edwards has a long history of UFO reports, and it's known to house multiple black projects. Now, whether or not the Eisenhower summit occurred or not is up for debate, but I will say that the circumstances are definitely compelling.
9 days after the alleged summit, on March 1st, 1954, the U.S. test detonated a 15-megaton hydrogen bomb, nicknamed Bravo. Some MUFON members attribute the Eisenhower summit to this event.
We're detonating nukes. They see from afar, it's like, oh my God, the kids found the matches. And they come down here to put a squash to it.
Debate within MUFON still rages on what really transpired that night. There are those who believe the very future of humankind was decided at Edwards Air Force Base.
What happened that night changed the course of human history. It was the most significant event of the 20th century. To this day, no one will admit that it even occurred.
Others aren't so sure.
The actual evidence for this summit is purely circumstantial. The president disappearing, the Edwards lockdown, the H-bomb test, the increased number of UFO sightings in the desert. It is intriguing, but extraordinary claims need extraordinary evidence.
MUFON believes the truth is in their files. And now that the files are open, the only question is, are we ready for the answers?
Integrated computer chips, fiber optics, stealth technology. Where did we get all this stuff from?
There's evidence of entire towns implanted with strange metal objects in their bodies.
There's a pattern here.
They're testing the limits of our society.
Extreme health warnings.
Hurricane Sandy.
The Soviet military buildup.
Block after block, smoldering rubble.
Attacks by aggressive creatures.
The government is complicit.
Understand that we had good cause.
MJ-12, the secret government.
Technology that will actually warp space-time.
Preparations for a full-scale invasion.
The new frontier is here, whether we seek it or not.
When they arrive, we've got to be ready.